We're out and about pruning roses today on Pots and Trowels, and that's brought to you with the support of King Seeds and Cobra Garden. Hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels. Well, today I've come to the National Holocaust Centre and Museum in Laxton in Nottinghamshire, and surrounding the centre there's an acre of wonderful peaceful gardens where people can come to reflect and remember. And as part of the garden there are some amazing rose beds where there are about 1,000 roses all dedicated, and I've been asked here today just to give a little bit of advice on how to prune these 1,000 roses. So this is just one of the beds of roses. There are 1,000 roses planted all together. The majority of them are iceberg, which is a lovely white floribunda. It's been around for a long time. I think it was introduced in the late 1950s and is a very popular rose. You can get it as a climber, you can get it as a standard, but these are just a standard floribunda here. And they will grow to about 4 feet if you didn't prune them, but we aim to keep them a little bit more compact so we can encourage lots of flowers. So what I've been asked to do is just to give a few tips on how to prune them. There's going to be some new garden volunteers working in the garden, and they just want a few pointers on how to prune these roses over the next 2 or 3 weeks. So here we go. So we'll start with this one just here. The good thing about this one is it's not particularly prickly as well, so I don't need my gloves on it, but bear in mind some roses are very thorny, so you're going to need a pair of gloves, and a pair of secateurs is all we need to do these. And what we're looking at basically is the plant here. They're not that old. I would think these are probably 5-6 years old at the most, and they've been pruned down at various levels, but as you can see they haven't always been pruned to a bud. We've got these little snags on here, so we need to go through and sort of prune them with the secateurs. So the first thing I would always do when I'm pruning is look for any dead on it, and there are some dead snags here. So we can see we've got this snag here, so I'm just going to prune that out like that. We can see that's dead, and there's another one just there and a little snag there, so that just tidies it up by getting rid of those. We don't want those bits on it. And then this is quite congested in the centre, so what I'm actually going to do is this one here, I'm just going to prune it down. Now we always say prune to an outward facing bud, but if you're pruning back into an older stem you can't always see the bud, so you've got to sort of guess where it is. Usually there's a little bump where the leaf has been or something like that. And it's not going to do any harm pruning down the odd stem into older wood, because what that will do is we're trying to encourage some new growth from the base. Instead of it always growing upwards, we can get a little bit of the growth coming from the base to keep it nice and bushy. Now here we are, it's the beginning of March, and already these roses have started to sprout. We've had sort of mild weather, and some people get quite worried thinking, well, I can't cut these little new shoots off. So they finish up just doing a little bit of light pruning at the top, so they're not removing these new shoots, because they think if they suddenly cut down a bit lower, it's going to do some damage to the plant. Well, it won't. It's all to do with a thing called apical dominancy, which means that the bud at the top will grow first, hence the reason that these are growing, but nothing's growing lower down. But if we were to cut that down to say there to above a bud, that bud now becomes the dominant bud, and all the energy that's going in through the roots and up the stem will be transferred to that bud, and in a few weeks time that dormant bud will look like that. So Don't worry if they've already started to grow, you can still prune them down. So I'm going to take this one down to there, like that. Make sure your secateurs are sharp. Some of these spindly ones, again, I'm going to cut fairly hard back because I want them to branch out from low down. We can take that piece out there because, again, it's growing in the middle. It's a little bit about keeping it open. And then what I'm going to do, once you've sort of thinned it out a little bit, and as I say, I've got rid of all those dead little snags, that's already opened it up a little bit. I'm then going to just reduce it in height. So we've already done that one there, another snag I missed, and then it's just a case, and it doesn't take long to do it. Outward facing if we can, but you can't always do it. So we're just going to prune down to a bud. We can see there's a tiny little bud there just starting to shoot. So I'm going to prune just above it. We don't want to be too far above it. About a couple of millimeters is ideal. And a bud there, a bud there, a bud there. So it really is very simple. I might take that one just a little bit lower. So that is essentially it. So you can see here, this is what we've pruned out. We've brought it down quite a bit in height. You can see when you compare it to the others how much we've taken it down. I'm just going to take that one off. We've opened it, we've got rid of the dead, and now all the energy will go into these buds and it will grow away, and we'll get some beautiful roses later on in the summer on it. So there you go, 2 down, 998 to go. And if you do fancy helping with the rose pruning here at the Holocaust Centre and you live in Nottinghamshire, they are looking for volunteers, so you can find all the details on their website. We'll be back again next week when I'll be doing some other things in the garden, so we'll see you then. But for now, I'm doing a bit more pruning.